What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you come into the channel and check out the content. And with that being said, I want to speak on some of the fallout, right? And the I told you souls and the fallout that has happened because of like the Lakers losing to the Timberwolves in their series. And one of the people I thought that really that's looking real goofy right now is this guy Nick Wright. He was all Lakers this, the Lakers defense has gotten better. Luca and LeBron on the same team is unstoppable. How how can you match up with these guys? And the Lakers, to be honest, the only people that was saying that was people like Nick Wright, Shannon Sharp, and people on these major networks. Like when you tune into people on podcasts and people who was not affiliate or who wasn't associated with this, or even ex-basketball players and stuff like that, nobody was picking the Lakers. Nobody was picking the Lakers to beat the Timberwolves in 5 games. Just Shannon Sharp, Nick Wright, and I think Chris Broussard, I think was saying that he liked the Lakers in that series. I don't know if he said in 5, right? But you watch the Lakers, even Lakers fans wasn't even picking the Lakers because they know Luka don't play defense, LeBron can't play defense, and Austin Reeves ain't play defense. So you got your top three best basketball players not playing defense, and you think that you're gonna be able to just beat a team like the Timberwolves in 5 with Anthony Edwards, Julius Randle, and those guys over there, those young guys, young legs, and they play defense too. It just didn't make sense. And that's why it just makes it seem like like these people have an agenda. And I've heard people say plenty of times that Nick Wright is he does business with Clutch, LeBron team, Clutch Management or Clutch Sports, whatever they call. He do business with them. So he has a vested interest in saying this, right? And but still, it just make these guys look because some of their takes just be so outrageous, it just makes them lose credibility. Basically, is what I'm saying. They lose credibility. So now that the Lakers have gotten knocked out of the playoffs in 5 games, people coming up with all different types of excuses for why the Lakers why the Lakers lost. They wanted to say that the Lakers didn't get enough help. Um, you know, well, LeBron didn't get it. I'm sorry, LeBron didn't get enough help. LeBron James is 40 years old. Well, if LeBron James is 40 years old and he couldn't and he wasn't he shouldn't have been out there. Because if they win and he's 40 years old, then it's good. That nobody don't want to bring that up. When you're 40 years old and you win, it's good. But now that he has lost, he's 40 years old, LeBron need more help. LeBron don't need more help. The Lakers need more help. LeBron wasn't helping the Lakers at all. He take plays off on defense, or he don't play defense at all, and he take plays off on offense. So in my estimation, that makes him about like 25%. You're getting 25% effort from LeBron James. No defense at all, and half the time on offense, he's rested. So that's one thing. LeBron needed more help. And now that the series is over with, now people are saying, well, Luka was out of shape. And that's true. Luka was out of shape. But when they were winning again, when they first got there, when Luka first got there, and then they went on like a little winning streak, then everybody was singing Luka's praises. But now that they have lost, everybody was like, well, Luka has Luka was out of shape. You can look at him and see that he wasn't in shape. But they knew that when they traded for Luka, that Luka was somebody who is he's not really into fitness. Luca, you know, is Luca. He can shoot all day on the offensive end, and he'll fill it up on the offensive end. But as far as like playing defense, Luca is not going. He refused to play defense. He get down on that defensive end. It's like he go on strike. When it comes to playing defense, he on strike. But so that's another excuse that they use. Even after the game, the press conference, JJ Redick was saying that some players were in excellent shape and some players were not in any shape at all, which I don't know, which is true, but I don't know like what good it did that besides, making an excuse. Besides making an excuse for the Lakers and LeBron James to say that. Because if you say that, all right, some players was in excellent shape. First person you're gonna think about was like, yeah, LeBron do keep himself in shape, but it's kind of misleading because he's in good shape for somebody 40. But if you put him up against somebody like Anthony Edwards, he not in, you know what I mean? You can't, I don't care how much weight training you do and how much cardio you do, like you can't compete with the natural strength of somebody who is 27, 25, 20, like a young dude like that. You're not going to be able to keep up with him like that. And so yeah, he in good shape for a professional basketball player in his 40s, but a professional basketball player in his 20s, he's not going to be able to keep up with that God-given natural strength that Anthony Edwards and the rest of those teams, those players bring to the table. So now when you talk about Luka's his conditioning, that's another thing. So, Luka, everybody knew that Luka wasn't in shape. And for JJ Redick to say, well, some was in shape, some wasn't. And then the first thing you think about, well, Luka, he the one. So Luka must be the person that he pointing the fingers at, which I think is dumb because if the Lakers want to re-sign Luka, and Luka could go somewhere else, but if the Lakers want to re-sign Luka, then why do that? Why, LeBron is on his way out the door. Why even make that statement? LeBron probably got about 1 or 2 more years left. That's if he come back to the Lakers next year. They rumors are saying that LeBron may be going somewhere else. He may opt out. But, even if LeBron comes back, I think Luka is the future of the Lakers. So when you say that some people out of shape and all that stuff, Luka could take that personally. Like what's the guy named Ben Simmons took something that Doc Rivers said in a press conference personally, and Ben Simmons, rolled out. He was like, man, they're trying to throw me under the bus. I don't want to be here. And so he made them have to get rid of him. And Luka could do this, and with less effort, Luka could do that because, like, he don't really have to re-sign with the Lakers. And if you're the Lakers, I think it'll just be goofy for you to hitch your wagon to LeBron James for any longer. LeBron James, in my opinion, is not he's not your number one on a championship team. He's not a number one or a number two, and not really a number three. Because your third scoring option is somebody who you want to also be a good defender at the other end. And so LeBron James, he's not even a starter if you think about it on a championship team. Like if LeBron James went to, for instance, say if he went to the Boston Celtics, like he wouldn't be able to replace or do better than any of those guys in their starting five or bring more to the table than any of those guys on a Celtics starting five. They wouldn't need him. They don't need him for his defense. They don't need him for his offense. On the Boston Celtics, it would be hard for him to get minutes if you're being honest and fair about, like what LeBron brings to the table. I think the fact that the Lakers even made it to the playoffs was was a miracle in my opinion, but yeah, I just think that the Lakers again, they kind of shoot themselves in the foot. I think Nick Wright lose credibility. You know, he coming up with all these excuses about why the Lakers lost. When the biggest reason that the Lakers lost is, like I said, it's LeBron James. If he's your number 2 option behind Luka, then your team is not really all that strong because he's only giving you 25% of what he could have really, you know, what he really could have been giving, a quarter of what he really could have been giving you back, like in about 8 years ago or so. You know, I heard somebody say that LeBron James is like 2-12 in the playoffs. You know, like since he's been with the Lakers, 2-12. So, you know, that's just crazy, man. You know, and so LeBron James hadn't really been effective in a long time. So that's my take on it. I just think that all these so-called analysts and all those prognosticators, as far as when it comes to basketball and stuff like that, really don't look like they know what they're talking about. You know, they really don't look like they know what they're talking about. So yeah, with that being said, make sure to like and subscribe. Also, don't forget to leave a comment, and I will check you all out in the next episode. Peace.